Hello and welcome to Geologic Disasters in the Environment. For this semester, I'm going to be taking you through all sorts of terrible, scary things. We're going to focus on the science behind why they happen and what you can do to protect yourself. So much so that we're actually going to have an entire semester-long project based around this idea that you really do need to be aware of what's going on around you, but there's ways to protect yourself. So since you've made it this far, you have made it through the front page of the class, and you've clicked on the Start Here button. So below this video, you're going to find all sorts of information, little descriptions to help you out, get ready for the semester. Don't forget, if you're taking this class and you're looking to get your lab science credit, you probably need to take the lab as well. So that is GLG111. If you haven't signed up for it yet, please get with me as soon as possible so we can make sure you get the credit you're looking for. So this is an online class, but I want you to make sure and keep in mind that it may not be easier than taking a face-to-face course. You do have the flexibility of working at your own pace, but there's all sorts of hardships that come along with it too, particularly having to pace yourself and make sure you take care of every single thing that's due during the week. So each week you're going to have a module to work through, and this will take you to the module pages. So this first week, there's just an introduction. So every single week, what you're going to have is a front page. Gives you a little introduction to the material. It's going to have a list of learning objectives. That way you'll know what to expect from the material. The next set of pages is going to be all your information. For this module, there's actually a PDF of a textbook chapter. This is not how it's always going to go. Some days we're going to have lots of text set up in the Canvas page. Some days I'm going to send you off to really good websites. So it depends on the week how you're going to receive that material. But you can see I've got a little bit of extra information there for you. The first thing you're going to have due each week is a discussion. So these are going to be due on Wednesday. At least your first post is due on Wednesday. So the discussions are a way to get to know your classmates and really talk about some key issues for each topic. So your first one's going to be due on Wednesday. Then you have to have 2 replies to your classmates' post throughout the next week. So you're going to need to post 3 times throughout the week. And they have to be on at least 2 separate days. That way you can't just go in and blast a bunch of stuff and then ignore it. A discussion really is about sort of reading what everybody else says and giving them time to respond to. All right, so that make sure you go to the discussion requirements page so you know exactly what you need to do to get your points, because that's important. After your discussion, you have a reading quiz. These are going to be due on Fridays. So the reading quiz is going to just make sure you actually look through the material in the module. This is just to keep everybody honest. It should be fairly easy. There's going to be lots of multiple choice questions. Those will be easy for you to answer. There's going to be some fill in the blanks or even short answer. And those aren't going to be automatically graded by the computer, or they're not going to be graded well. So if you put a fill in the blank and it counts it wrong and you're sure it's right, it may be. You may have spelled it incorrectly. You may have put an extra period that the key didn't have. That's what my job is, to go back and clean those up for you. All right, so those are going to be on Friday. If you don't get them in on time, every day that it's late, you're going to lose 10%, and you have a week to do that. After a week, all the right answers are going to pop up, so obviously you can't turn that in anymore after that. But you do have 3 attempts. So particularly on those quizzes that are multiple choice heavy, that's an easy way for you to go back and fix those to make sure you do really well on each one of these. And then the last thing you're going to have is going to be working on your semester project other than this first week here. So for this first week, you're going to tell me about you a little bit, which is nice. I get to know who you are since we don't ever really see face to face almost. So this lets me get to know you a little bit. But your semester project assignment will be due each Monday, and I'll show you an example of that as well. So if we go back in here to the modules, week 2 is going to be pretty easy for you just because you are starting your semester project. So this is going to be based completely around the fact that someday you're going to have to choose where to live. Now, you may have already had to do this, and you might not have really thought about what kind of risks you faced for that one. So your job is to pick a house somewhere in the United States. We're going to use Zillow to do it. If you never played with the site, it's kind of fun to go house shopping from afar sometimes. And then you're going to learn all about this house and all about the region it's in. So every single week, no matter what topic we're going to be discussing that week, you're going to apply that topic to your house that you're picking out, which I think is pretty exciting. So week 2 here, that's what you're going to be doing, is you're going to be working through it. And so if we go back here, I'm going to go back to this module page. So for each week, you can see you have a report or you have a semester project. So week 3 is going to be all about hurricanes. Now, hurricanes aren't necessarily a geologic process, but they're kind of fun, and they do cause a lot of coastal erosion, which is why I throw them in anyway. So you can see there's a few pages full of hurricane information. There's a discussion page, a reading quiz, and here's your semester project. Now, the other thing that gets stuck into the rest of these is a supplemental assignment. These are a great way to gain some extra points along the way. So a lot of these are go read something and then answer some questions about it. And if you do it and you do it well and you do it correctly, you can get up to 10 extra bonus points for the week doing that. Now, note, if we go back here, each week you have a discussion that's 10 points, a reading quiz that's 10 points, and the semester project, which is worth 10 points. So that extra 10 points, that's a pretty significant increase in your grade. Now, those are due on Mondays. Those are the one thing that you have to turn in on the due date. Those aren't, there's none of those that are accepted late at all, since it is just bonus. Now, let's look at the semester project here for you. So for this week, for your semester project, you're going to be looking at your hurricane risk for your home. Now, you may have a house in Kansas where the hurricane risk is actually pretty low, although I will point out that Kansas still is affected by a lot of hurricane storms. They're just not necessarily hurricanes by that point, but they may have increased risk of rain and flooding. You have this exact same information to help you every single week. You want to make sure and be as complete as possible here. So if you're in Kansas and you don't have hurricane problems, make sure to note that and tell me where you got that from. Really show me that you've actually worked at it. All right, if you do live in an area that could be susceptible to hurricanes, you've got some questions to answer about that. Not always will every one of the questions be appropriate for your location, but do the best you can and be as complete as you can. Make sure and grab any maps, any graphs, any charts, any images, anything, any videos that are relevant, and include that in, because at the end of the semester, you're going to have to put all of these together in one final project for me. And the more you do now, the easier life is going to be. All of these are going to be based on a rubric, and you can see here how those would be graded. You've got everything you need, and it's complete, and it's correct, and you listed the sources you used just like you need to, and you get the full credit. It really shouldn't be too bad. Now, one of the things that's kind of fun here is the CRAP test. So this is a way to test if your source you're using is good. All right, so CRAP stands for currency, reliability, authority, and purpose or point of view. And so this is a really fun way to remember how to figure out if it's a good source or not. So be very careful, and I'm going to be pretty picky on your sources. So don't use Yahoo Answers as a source that you cite. The other big thing is when you cite a source, I'm assuming you're going to use a whole lot of web pages, which is fine. I do the same thing. Make sure you get the whole web page. So let's say you go to Wikipedia and you look up earthquakes in California. Let's see. We can do that really quick, right? Earthquakes in California. You get to see what all the crap I look at all the time is. Oh, look. All right, so let's say you go to, let's see, this one right here, the Southern California Earthquake Data Center. I'm going to say that's probably a reliable source. I trust that. All right. A lot of times the .edu, so this is obviously at Caltech, .gov is usually pretty good. Maybe you want a list of earthquakes. This is Wikipedia. Now, if you're going to grab, oh, you can't see the address bar, but if you grab the address, you want the whole address. You don't want just the wikipedia.org and then nothing else. I need the entire address, because if I click on your source you give me, it should take me directly to the page you got your information off of. And that's one of the ways I can help you make sure that it's an appropriate source. Other than that, if we go ahead and go to the syllabus, there's lots of important information here. All right. It includes textbook information, Canvas information, all your system requirements you need, what's in each of the modules. You've done this before, right? Grades, but the attendance policy is pretty important too. Because you're in an online course, you can't exactly just show up or not show up each day for class. So the attendance policy for the online class is, if you don't turn anything in for a whole week, I'm assuming you don't want to finish the class. Now, if something comes up and you have a problem, let me know, and we'll work together, and I'll know not to drop you. But otherwise, I expect you to be posting every single week. At the bottom here, this is some official MCC information. So this is from the Student Handbook on Expectations for Online Classes too. So please make sure and read through this whole thing so all of us will be on the exact same page. On this, if you want to keep track of what's happening, you do have a calendar. And that calendar is going to tell you when due dates are every single semester. So make sure you keep track of that and make sure you're turning everything in like you're supposed to. And I'll try to nag you a little bit as needed to push you along there. So moral of the story for today is, if you need help, please let me know. Don't hesitate to ask me. I'm available by phone. If you want to call, you've got my number there on your syllabus. It's 480-461-7054. You can email me. You can use the Canvas messages. That's the best option. If it's a question about a specific assignment, you can make a comment on that specific assignment. That way it'll stay with the information and I don't have to go clicking around. I can look exactly where you're asking about it. It makes our life easier. If you want to Skype me, I'm available by Skype. You can see I'm at Kelly Loves Rocks. And there's some other ones we can use too. Or you could just stop in the office anytime. I've had students who come in and just worked on classwork here with me. That way I can answer questions for them as they have it. That's just fine with me as long as it's during my office hours. Or you schedule it with me anytime I'm not directly in class. I don't mind working with you. So I hope we have a great semester. I hope you get a whole lot out of it, and I hope you learn a whole lot. Please let me know if you need anything.